Every single day you watch a YouTube video, you laugh, you're hooked, and you stay until the end. But have you ever asked yourself why?
That feeling isn't an accident. It's architecture. It's a series of 1,000 invisible decisions made by one person designed to hold your attention.
But that raises a critical question for all of us.
Where is the line between telling an authentic story
And building a system designed to manipulate you? Our guest today lives at the center of that question. Where do you draw the line between crafting a compelling story and manipulating reality?
It's my responsibility to also provide that for the audience to see, so it isn't a lie.
Have you ever had to kill a creative idea you loved because you knew the algorithm would punish it?
The full decision doesn't come down to me, it comes down to the creator.
If you had to teach a young editor one principle, what would you teach?
Let's see. Oh. Okay, I got it.
He is the hidden hand behind hundreds of millions of views.
His name is Jimmy Nick.
And today, we're deconstructing his entire system.
Let's do it.
Jimmy, it's an honor to have you.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.
Most people see editing as a technical skill. We see it as the final and the most critical stage of brand building in the creator economy. So you're not just cutting clips, you're architecting the audience's relationship with a personality. And today our goal is to deconstruct that entire system with you. So to start things off, what have you been thinking about this week?
What I've been thinking about? I've been thinking about how I'm going to be on the greatest podcast of all time. And I've been manifesting that this is going to be that crazy podcast.
Okay, so just to get things started, we're going to talk a little bit about the creative. So Danny, go ahead.
You receive, let's say, 10 hours of footage from Kelly Wakasa. It's a mess. Like, how do you go and approach that? Like when you're going into the script development and editing phase and you have like the rough cut of it. What's your thought process creatively?
Yeah, well, it's honestly pretty overwhelming at the beginning. You get a ton of footage from any of the guys that I work with. They give you a lot of footage. So the biggest thing first is to take it in blocks. Like for sure, there's no way that you'd be able to just take that all in at once, right? So the biggest thing first is to put it into a raw cut. And so essentially that is cutting out all the dead space and all the useless stuff of them putting down a camera. You cut that part of the video. Let's say they're taking B-roll of, I don't know, a barn. And then basically they move their camera or they start talking or whatever. You're just cutting out the parts that are useless. And then that's the first part. That's all you have to think of, that raw cut, because it brings it down from like 10 hours to something a lot smaller. And it could be even like 2 hours. A lot of times, even when I get stuff, it could even be like, let's say 2 hours of footage. And I bring that down into like 30 minutes. That's when then you look for the next thing. And that's then adding in the music and sound effects. And then you go into a whole nother step of basically a thing called Murder Your Darlings. And I got that from Hayden Hillier-Smith. So it's not mine. I didn't take that. But he also got it from somebody, I think. But I'm not going to quote him on that. But basically, it's just taking whatever you have. And it could be like a really good part of the video that was planned out and recorded. But if it doesn't go with the pacing of the video, then, or doesn't go with the storytelling, then the video itself is going to be, you basically cut the most important parts. Or wait, what I'm trying to say here, the Murder Your Darlings is like taking, it could be a good shot or something, but if it doesn't flow with the video, you're just cutting it. And then again, that makes it a lot shorter. But other than that, you really take it in blocks. Each of them are steps. Like I lay it out. Like I said, it's a raw cut. Then there's like a second raw cut. And then after that, you add in music and sound effects. And then you do polishing. Then you give it for revisions. There's a lot of steps. But again, you have to break it all down. It's the biggest and easiest way to do it, right, when you get it. Because it will be way too overwhelming at the beginning. And I don't think anyone really needs to deal with that at the beginning either. Because the YouTubers are usually going to allow you to start with the first step. And that's just like cutting it.
When do you get to the point where you're like, God, this is like starting to look something stylistically cinematic?
Once you get the music in, because the music itself establishes the emotion of the video, and emotion really allows you to create the story and see the story. And so when you get the music in, then you're able to see it as its own kind of little story. Because let's say you're starting off with like a scary video, right? And then you add the ambient music into it to make it feel really spooky, right? Then that ambient music allows you to build up to whatever it is, somebody popping out of something, or it could be a video of somebody cooking. Let's say they're cooking some food and you want to tell a story through that. Again, the music's really going to establish it. Let's say they're making a pizza, right? And then all of a sudden there's the Italian music playing and it has that vibe. And then they drop the pizza on the ground and they're like, oh man, like that was the only pizza. And you added in, let's say, sad music so that it established that feeling of like, this sucks. Or it could even be adding in music that's like awkward, funny music to be like, wow, I really screwed up this or whatever, right? So then that allows you to start the story. And when those parts come in and I start to see that, it's kind of like working through the process, the story comes together. But the story is built throughout every part of me like adding in the music and really adding the emotion I feel allows me to tell the story. Yeah.
It seems like music is definitely a very big part of your process in general. What would you say is your process in trying to find music?
So for me, I match it with their personality. And so, for example, Luke Eich, he's very laid back and he's very chill. He does skating. So we're going to add in a little bit of maybe a funky beat with like groovy beach type vibe music. We're going to add in some like, it could be even just, let's say he's doing a cinematic shot or something and he gets into that. Some really nice, like, epic sounding or ambient sounding music to really emphasize his art, like his artistic part of him. And Souptimmy is different vibe totally. So his is more like solving Rubik's Cubes. It's more also like kid friendly. So that's how he's also portraying his personality. So you're going to add some more quirky, funny, goofy sounds and music into it that matches with kind of his whole vibe. Or he really likes K-pop. Like I always ask them what kind of music do they like. And then that's the biggest thing too, finding the music that they like, because that's how you know they're going to also vibe with the video as well. So I kind of grab it from the personality and what I assume, but then I also grab it from kind of what they've already told me through music they like. Questions, biggest thing to do is to also ask them and a lot of times right when I started with the clients, I'd be like, send me all the music that you have and like, and then I'd also match those types of songs with the music that they already sent me. Yeah. So again, it's like more towards, I think you're trying to feel out who they are. And that's tricky at first, but you kind of get it really quickly. Like they'll tell you too, this song sucks. And then, I'm never using that type of song again. Right.
In terms of like different client relation, I feel like you have to ask a lot of questions to try to almost understand the full picture of like the creative style of the client. What kind of mindset do you have to kind of adopt within each video?
Well, I guess honestly, without knowing, I kind of adjust to their kind of vibe of pacing and how they do their pacing from just starting and working through the video. Like, I don't think I even really notice it too much. The pacing with like Luke and Timmy, they both start the same. I get in the raw cut, I cut out the stuff that's useless, and then what I do is then adjust the humor towards what they also find funny as well. So Timmy's humor is different than Luke's. So I will kind of, while I'm in an edit, decide what I think Timmy's thinks is funny. And then it also kind of changes the whole vibe itself of the video. Like, for example, it could be Timmy solving a Rubik's Cube, and it's something that like he does with the cube that's not like it'd be like, let's say solving a cube and it breaks and I make like a boing sound effect or whatever. Luke would never put that in his video, and it's like that would for him be more cheesy for his style. So it's like you kind of have to pick and choose what they'll find either good or bad, and you're just kind of really trying to get to know them, I think, to make those decisions on their pacing. A lot of it comes down to also knowing, like, building that relationship with them and kind of knowing what they'll do. It's trial and error too. Like, you're not going to get it the first time. There's a lot of times I originally editing Timmy's video at the start like Luke's, and he's like, I don't like this, I don't like this. And then you pick that up from the revisions and stuff, and then you slowly adapt until you end up figuring out what their style of pacing is. Yeah.
And how long does that process usually take to really kind of step into like, okay, this is their sort of style, right? This is Kelly's, this is Luke's, right? How does that tend to work?
So it would probably, like, for me, it took years. Like, you have to be committed to doing it because you're figuring out their style per video. So the first video is not going to be good. The second video might not be as good. Third video even. It's like, until you, like, now my skill from doing it with them, I could pick up on it faster. So I could get it within a month. But before, it would have taken me like years to figure out how to do it because you're not sure in the beginning, right? So videos might have taken me 80 hours, where now, because I've done it so much and consistency and like learning from my mistakes ended up pushing me to be able to do it quicker and figuring it out within like I could get some videos done within 10 to 15 hours, where it took me in the beginning 80. So you have to be really committed and give a lot of sacrifice into this to kind of make it happen. But once you do, and you do enjoy it, it's worth it. Because at first it's going to be so tedious, and some people find it way too tedious, where I actually found it enjoyable once I finally saw the final product. And I was just, oh, this looks sick when I played this back. It made me more inspired. And then when I learned certain things that they said, like, oh, fix this because it's going to build the retention, or do this because it's going to make it look better, it made me more inspired to, or it encouraged me to work harder and put in more effort during that time. So again, I think it's a time game at the beginning, but it speeds up as you're going.
How do you typically gauge whether or not a creator is worth working for or not?
It's a risk for sure. But I think the thing is that what I thought was, here, I could go to school and learn nothing to do this. And I'm not saying school will not teach you anything about it, but specifically in the YouTube field, there's no school or class that's like, here's how to edit a YouTube video in a specific style, and how do you change that? So what I thought was, okay, my original goal is I want to build my own channel. And so how do I get good at, like, I need to be good at something to build my channel. And I was like, well, maybe if I improve my editing. So I had that first thing to keep me driven. So I want to be a YouTuber. So then I'm like, okay, I got to learn how to edit. And so then when I learned how to edit, or started to do that, I was like, the clients that I find, I'm doing this because I want to gain the experience. And so if it's free right now, or if it's, which I don't suggest doing it for free, but if it's free to just start, then you have something in your portfolio. So if you start editing, let's say, a video for one person like Luke Eich, you have one video in your portfolio, which is more likely to land you a better gig with somebody else, because now you have that in your background. They know you've edited a video. It's for an actual channel. So I knew I would just gain a ton of experience through doing this. And these guys have been doing it for 16, or not 16, but like 10 plus years, right? And so they've already kind of mastered the craft of the editing. So I'm going to be not only just learning it from like almost a free school, right? I'm also going to be learning it from one of the best in the game of doing that type of thing. And that's what I want to do for myself. So I get it for myself. I get it for also a job that I'm doing. So I knew that that was behind it. But the thing is, of course, money comes into that. And the biggest thing is to not do it for free, and to do it for at least something, so you also get that extra little perk. But at first, I'd say look at the money as a reward. Do a part-time job on the side, and then that's where then you can focus on doing it. Because eventually, it will be worth it once you gain the experience, because you can do it with anything else. And if that's on your own, or if that's finding another creator, yeah, honestly, then you could just like, you know that you've developed a skill that's worth a ton of money in the end. Like, even if you didn't get money from it now, you can still use that skill continuously. And now with this age, right, editing is such a big thing, and there's not a huge amount of editors, and a lot of people aren't willing to stick in with it, so you don't really have that much competition to be almost the best. Yeah.
When you were starting finding clients in general, did you feel like you had to be some certain level to work with a client for the first time?
I guess so, but in my head, I was like, I'm going to become the best in this way, in my own way. And I'd never really compared myself to anyone else, because I was like, my goal is not to become the best editor. My goal is just to become good at the skill, right? So it doesn't matter if I'm better than somebody else, or if I feel like I'm not good enough. I just convince myself to tell myself that, like, no matter what, I will be that guy, you know, like I will be him to do this type of thing. Because when I first went for Luke, that was the first client that I actually got with as where he trusted me to edit his videos and that type of thing. I didn't know actually how to do it. So I was going to it saying, I can do this, and I'll just show you, like, it's going to be rough at the beginning, right, type of thing. But let me have one of your videos, let me edit it, and I'll send it back. And I just went like poured my heart into doing it, and then it ended up working. He was like, yeah, this is obviously rough, but the fact that I kind of owned it made it so I didn't have that imposter syndrome, I guess. Yeah.
You faked it till you made it.
Sorta, yeah, honestly. Like, it was more like not even faking it, because I thought it, like, in my head. I was like, I'm just gonna become a good, like, you kind of have to psych yourself out. Not even like, I guess it is faking it, but not really. I don't know how to describe it, but you get what I mean, right?
Absolutely. Like, that's something me and him talk about all the time, is like, you have to be kind of delusional in a way to reach any level of success. So my follow-up to you is, you wanted to be successful in the skill of editing. How did you know when you reached that? Like, for people who might trying to be getting started and they want to kind of determine like what level they are, you know, what they can charge, you know, the rates and things like that. So how did you know you became successful at editing? Like, was there a specific time where you were like, yeah?
Yeah. Well, I guess honestly, at certain times I had raw cutters that I like kind of hired at times to be like, can you do this? And I was teaching them how to edit, and so it would help me out for the edits, and I would pay them for that. And when I was doing that and I was explaining how I did the process of everything, it made me realize how much I actually kind of knew. But the actual moment that I like kind of knew it was not like a specific time, but it was more like when other people were telling me, like, I have no idea how you did that, or that type of thing. And I was thinking, like, what do you mean? Because you're seeing it every day, so it's not like there's nothing that changed really in your head. But when other people are seeing it and saying, yo, this is crazy, like, I can't believe this, or there's a comment on a video and they're like, this part of the video made me cry, or like you really see that somebody was so attached to the emotion, or this is my favorite video, then I kind of knew, like, okay, so some people think this might be the best video ever. And in my head, I'm like, that wasn't the best video, because I'm still trying to improve. I'm still trying to become better. So over the time of like other people noticing and kind of saying it a little bit is what allowed me to think, okay, now I'm actually doing this and I'm doing well. And I'm making a living off of this full time. I'm in connections with 3 major YouTubers at the time when I kind of first like knew that. And then when I went to New York City, the one guy, Ari Elkins, was like, yo, bro, if you want to edit for me as well for this one thing, for his channel, just like start off some stuff. I was like, just the fact that he asked me right while I was there was like, okay, he knows I'm professional. And he was like, I know you're good. So like, can you help me out? Like that type of thing. And I'm like, that's just so like surreal that somebody like that would have already asked me that type of thing. So again, I think it comes down to the people noticing, made me like notice as well. Because again, I'm delusional at the time. I'm thinking I gotta be better at editing. I gotta become better at this, or like this person. And then I guess even going back to the imposter syndrome, it came, yeah, that actually like hit me later. I feel like more the fact of like not thinking, well, I'm not that good or that type of thing, right? Like I would deny it sort of when people said it. But I guess then, like now, as I do this type of thing, I've come back to being confident and being like, yeah, this is my thing. Again, I'm not the best editor. And I don't claim to be. I will never claim to be, because it's, again, subjective. But I love what I do, and it's so fulfilling. So the fact that I keep improving and it keeps growing and this type of thing, I know that it's working, and it's making me feel a lot better about it.
Expand on that more, of like what specifically about editing really fulfills you.
Okay, so first, it's kind of sick the fact that you get to watch somebody else's life and something crazy they do, highlights of their life, highlights moments of just really cool things of these people that I was originally fans of watching, right? So the fact that you kind of get to watch that and see it is super entertaining right off the bat, because I'm like, oh, no way he did this, or no way he's actually gonna do this. So even while I'm editing and you're watching a video, I'm not editing the raw version of it, but I'm like, there's no way this guy jumped off, like Luke jumping off a tree or something, or just like doing something that he's gonna say, like jump off a bridge. I'm like, that's a high bridge. Like I want to see like how that looks. And then when I'm watching it through, so I get to see it. And then the fulfilling part to edit it is like, okay, how can I make that scene of him jumping off like a bridge way more intense? And it's like, how can I make it so like how I thought in my head like it would look before I even seen it when he said it is gonna like look after. That's usually how like the editing process goes, and it gets me really hyped to edit that part, because then I add the sound effects and I just build it up to make it suspenseful of how I kind of pictured it. And that comes in too later. Like again, the raw cut's not like super crazy excited, but then I get more excited after, because I kind of like make mental notes of like, this part's going to be like this. This part's going to be like this. When I go back to it, it gets fun. So once I get to have the music in and start adding in the sound effects, I think once you get the sound design, that's when I get like really hyped. And I'm like, ooh, this is going to be so fun to do. So then I know coming back to it, even though it's going to be boring at first, just cutting through a bunch of footage, I'm like, I'm excited for that. And then when you watch it back and it looks exactly how you pictured it in your head, you're like, yeah, I did that, you know?
So it's kind of like showcasing the feeling that you have when you're watching it and portraying that onto the edit.
It's so exciting. Yeah, I love that part of it. Yeah.
One video I really love that I've seen was when I quit cubing, which I know you've had a specific creative exploration on, because it's much like a 3-act story essentially. When you were editing it, and it was really cinematic. And I just kind of want to know that, like, how do you internalize that hero journey?
So that is honestly, I think, a team effort for sure. The best thing I like about working with Souptimmy is that we always work as a team on his videos, because he's really into scripting his videos and having them set out, like the shots are planned out. And so he comes to me and asks what kind of shot would be cool for this, and I give him some pointers, and then he'll do some cool shots, and then sometimes I'll suggest maybe you should add in this or that type of thing. And so the pre-planning with Timmy really helped build the story itself, really scripting it and then seeing it kind of come to life, because it's like you have to make it exciting for somebody to watch your life, because you could make it a really boring story or you can make it really exciting. So yeah, with Timmy, again, we worked together on this, and throughout the edits and the whole process of it, I gave him my first version of it. When I sent it to him, he looked at it and then gave me his thoughts and revisions on it. Now, what he did also was sent it to other YouTubers as well to review it, to get the point of view of like, what would be more exciting for this part? How should we change this? Would this be better if we got a shot like this? And then it's kind of like everyone kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together. I think that's the biggest thing, is the whole thing is a puzzle. And that's another thing why I love editing. It's like, how can we figure out of making this into something that is so engaging and so visually appealing and also sounds beautiful. So I think that was the whole focus on that video itself, was a whole team effort of it. And again, I did the whole edit itself, but the whole pre-planning and just planning throughout, I think really built the story. Yeah. And then I gave my points of views. So some things there were a lot of things that we changed together, or like, we're like, how should we change this to make it more exciting? Yeah.
So that reminds me a lot actually of a book I read. It's called The Mom Test. The whole ideology of it is to validate an idea before you even go to market with it. And this is like a business book. But that honestly reminds me a lot of kind of like the pre-production is just as important, if not even more important than the production itself. A lot of people can take that into account, especially if they're starting a channel, is kind of like that live A/B testing, that what you guys did, right? Oh, you go to this guy. Hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And you create that culmination of ideas to get the one single thing that, you know, a lot of people are going to enjoy.
Yeah, you create the whole foundation. And from there, then it's so much easier. For me, at least, too, as an editor, I can see exactly what their vision is and put it together how they think. So the video itself near the end was still amazing for me and how I thought it was, but it became even better once we pulled everybody else into it and like gave their point of view, because it's subjective, right? Something I like might be something you don't like. Yeah.
Did that take time for you to learn? Was that collaboration and working with so many like moving parts at once?
I guess it's kind of easy because throughout, like, let's say even school or jobs or anything, you're kind of told what to do, right? And you're kind of like, you're kind of programmed to follow whatever the person tells you, right? So for them saying certain things, one thing is I don't take criticism in a bad way. Like, constructive criticism is amazing. That's what got me to this point. I learned from all my mistakes. And so I feel like going into it without being offended by somebody else's opinion of it really makes it a lot easier, because at the end of the day, it's their video. It's not my video, right? So I need to make it exactly how they envision it. And so collaboration's honestly been super easy for me, just because I know I'm going to also learn from it and gain a lot out of that.
Can you share us an experience where you made a creative decision on a video, but it didn't make the cut?
Ooh, that's a good question. Because there's a lot of things in different things where actually in the beginning, let's just go with that, because now a lot of it, I've kind of got their vibe, right? So it's not like cut. I used to do in Luke's videos, I thought, let's just make this so crazy. And I'm going to like add in the craziest visual effects where, let's say he's skateboarding or something. I'm going to make it look like super trippy when he jumps in the air, and have like this overlay of like colors and stuff. And like, if it was like a montage with music, I'm adding in these like really cool overlays. And again, that didn't fit with his style and how he liked it. And now I know that. But those parts, I spent like 10 hours on this one thing, and it was for this music video thing that we were doing. It was to promote his one No Pressure brand. And it was this one video in the basement of their one house that they had. They were like promoting it, and I did all these visual effects for it. And a lot of it was just cut out. Or there's one time there was a skate shop part of a video. I did so many different effects, and all of those effects were like cut out when I sent it to him. So I was like, oh damn. Like I thought I cooked. I thought this was so good, but it wasn't. So yeah. And then now I feel like it's like I know how to match their vibe, and you have to match it because it looks sick. And I'm not going to lie, it still looks cool in my head and how it looked, but it does not match Luke's video. So would I have ever done that again? No. And if I was to tell somebody else who did that and sent it to me, I'd be like, no, this is not Luke's thing ever. So don't don't put it like that. Like, it's got to be more simple, and the cuts are more important as the style. Yeah.
I actually really love that point. I feel like as like creatives, we are often so sucked into our work that we can end up doing 10 hours of work and then it just gets thrown in the trash. How does that push you in your skills of an edit?
Like, because of those, it allowed me to pick up his style faster, because it's like, the next edit, I'm not going to do that. Let's just make it more simple. And thinking in my head, it has to be way more than it should be. It's one, going to save me time, so I know that that's going to make it faster to edit. And then you do send it back and he's like, awesome, looks sick. When I'm thinking, oh, this is not enough, it actually is. So I think you just don't also second guess yourself. And a lot of things are easier and look better when it's simple. Like, the best shots in movies and stuff are like a really big build up to like one still shot, and people are like, that looks so sick. And it was just like, there was like no editing to that other than a riser of music, and it cuts off on just one shot.
So for the editors out there who may be kind of in that same situation of over editing, like, what are some tactical things that they can do now to simplify their edit so that it's, you know, as directed for the intended audience, so that it has that more emotional impact?
I guess, like how I was kind of just saying, the most important thing as an editor to know, and how Luke and Kelly have taught me, is the best effect that you can possibly do is a simple cut. And that's because you don't need all these crazy shots and stuff like that. Sometimes it's way too overstimulating. And so for an editor, people think, oh, I gotta be making it look the best and this crazy thing. But if it's over edited, nobody's gonna watch it. It's too much. Like, again, the overstimulation of an old Mr. Beast video is crazy, and it's like screaming, and there's so many things that people can't handle it. So if you want to establish emotion, like, you're trying to make something very romantic, and it's like it could be like somebody like Kelly popping a question to Ashley, or Luke popping a question to Kyla. It could just be a simple, okay, I need to ask this person. I'm just going to say a random person, but I'm going to ask this person to be my girlfriend. And I don't know how I'm going to do it, but we're going to do it. And then let's just say it's like, this is the moment that I'm going to ask her to be my girlfriend. And then all of a sudden, it's like a small, like a buildup with just a riser in the background. You know what a riser is? It's like right? It could just be something like that, cuts off to just quiet, right? And the shot's just long, a long shot of let's say one of Kyla or somebody just walking up and being like, hey, do you want to be my girlfriend? There's no music, there's nothing, but that one cut off and the quietness made it so real, and like you're actually there as a real moment, that established the emotion of the whole shot. It was like you used a simple sound effect to cut off to that shot. And it could just be a buildup if, let's say, somebody talking and being like, oh man, I don't know how to do this. How am I going to do this? I don't know how to do this. Cuts to just one shot of like somebody walking. It's a quiet on like into like on a balcony or something. And they're just walking up to each other. And it's like, hey, I wanted to ask you something. And it's like, what? Do you want to be my girlfriend? And it's like, yes. Right there, that shot hit. It could cut again to like a montage of like really euphoric, happy music. And then it's just a lot simpler when you do it. But if you did a bunch of edits, you're like, I'm going to ask her to be my girlfriend. Today, we're going to ask her to be your girlfriend. We've got to plan this. And then you're like shots of like a bunch of things. It's like the emotion of like, oh, that was so like sweet is gone because it's now too overstimulated. Yeah. So as an editor, simple shot, the simple cut is the best way to go, I'd say. Yeah. It's not that deep. You don't have to go that crazy.
Specifically, going back to the I Quit Cubing video, one of my favorite edits I've ever seen you do is the first minute of that whole video. What was the most exciting part of that creative process for you?
So with Timmy, first thing to do is like, what do you want? That's the biggest thing. See right away, like kind of what he's feeling for that part. And it's like, okay, I'm going to be going into the school. I want to make this really kind of sad to reflect my childhood and to have this whole scenario where it's like I fell off and I quit cubing, and now I'm gonna get back into it, and you have to figure out how I'm gonna make that exciting. So right when I hear all those things, I first go through the clips and I'm like, okay, we have to first make these shots slower because that's how it's gonna be. So even though it's riskier because it's the intro, right off the bat, if you have it where it's like he walks up to the locker and then the cube falls out, right? That whole scene itself is established by kind of keeping the pacing with the emotion. So if it's sad, usually it's slower, right? If it's happy, it's fast paced. But again, with his, he wanted to have it feel like it's old too, like this was in the past. So I kind of just like mixed in together with like he did I wanted to make it feel like a old school, I don't know, like 1980s vibe. So I just first kind of set that as the placement, and then even the pictures or overlays of what he's thinking about before, we're like, we should add like the old camera look to it. So we flick back in time, and it just made it look like this was in the past and this was not a good time of my life, but I made it into something like way better. So the intro itself was really designed to feel old and sad. And that's where we just kind of built from there. And it would just be like, let's throw in this, let's add in this. And then from the pacing, originally, it went like sad to like up. And it was like, oh, things are good. Back down to sad. And so that like curve, we knew, oh, that's going to destroy the retention. So we're like, we need to like keep it to be the same throughout. So it's just a constant like build up, or else you can make people emotionally confused. Like, let's say it's sad and like it's building up and it cuts to like not so sad and it's all right. People are like, whoa, what? I was like in it and now you just cut me off right away. This is a whole different vibe of the video. I'm clicking off. So we really focused on that just to build it up slowly to a point of like, okay, things are turning around now. And so, yeah, it was it took some time, but the intro was the thing we worked on the most. And that was like the thing that we really needed to like nail down by just like focusing on that. Yeah.
Do you think that working on the intro is what takes the most amount of time when doing an edit? Like, how much time do you dedicate just to intro as opposed to the rest of the video?
It depends the creator. With Timmy, we have other people too that we work with, just like friends and stuff that are looking at it just to make it like, do you like this? Should we change this? Or like they give their opinion, we take or leave it. Luke's is faster because with Luke, we're usually, again, we could be doing it at the end of the video, but his intros are shorter a lot of times. But I'd still say, yeah, overall, the intro takes up a big chunk of time. It's not like the most. But yeah, wait, sorry, say the question again.
So how long do you guys typically spend on an intro as opposed to the rest of the edit?
Probably because there's revisions and stuff. Luke's I have more down. Timmy's, he's also trying to figure it out with me. So Luke's, it could be not that long, honestly. It could be only like, it could be like half a day, let's say, so of work. So for me, at least, I divide my days into like 6 hours of work. So it could be only like 3 to 4 hours for the intro for Luke. Timmy's could be like 25 hours, and that's just because we're doing constant revisions of like, let's get this better, and then we're like, all right, this is cool, and this feels good. But then sometimes Luke's, it depends. I guess it depends the edit. It really depends on how you want to make the story. But sometimes it's pretty simple. We're doing a simple video, the intro's gonna be simple. The complex video, the intro gotta be complex because we want to make it so people stick along with that type of thing.
How do you guys typically decide whether or not that's a video that requires a more complex intro?
I'd say it goes back to pre-planning. Once they pre-plan it enough, to the point of like, this isn't just a simple vlog, this is a whole idea, then that's when then the intro is going to be more complex, because then you're actually planning it out versus just like, let's make an intro out of what we have. And that's where both sides, it could be anyone that I work with, they're doing a simple video, the intro's more simple because they're like, oh, this was something, we just need to get this out quick, can you do an intro for this? We're gonna make it like basically a little quick snippet of what everything is in the video, and that's like a lot easier because it's just kind of taking stuff that we already have, adding music to it, and then going into the story. The other one's like, all right, we need the plan shots, the plan thing. So yeah, it just depends on what they're kind of telling me and saying, all right, this got to be like a banger, or this is still going to be a banger, but intro's not as crazy. So usually they kind of give me that info before.
As you know, AI is increasingly getting more powerful. Within the next 5 years, what do you think one human skill that someone needs to have value as an editor within this new age?
I think one skill I'd say is to constantly progress. If you limit yourself to doing a certain style of video and you're not changing your style at all, and you're doing the same kind of cookie cutter layout of a video, then you're going to fall behind with AI, and AI will wash you out because anyone can do that. If you're going to edit like a robot, the robot's going to take over, right? But as I am always focused on, and throughout my videos, is the videos are so different for every single section that AI can't just replace me for that. So I think you have to learn how to become somebody who can edit multiple styles of videos so that you can combine that into every single video you're doing. Or else if you're going to pick one style and stick with it, eventually AI will take over for that. But AI is an interesting thing because I feel like AI is such a tool for me through my edits, and it has made me a better editor, having just ChatGPT pre-production, scripting, planning, doing all these things that would have taken me hours and hours to do if I didn't have it. But people also, as editors, don't use it as a tool, and they think of it as a threat. And if you look at it like that, yeah, you're not going to be a good editor because you're going to use the most powerful. It's like the most powerful tool, right? Like originally for them to edit back in the really old times of them starting with film, right? They're using their friggin' hands and putting it together onto a reel that's spinning. And that took so long for them to do. We like grab the footage, put the little chip into a computer, boom, all the videos and clips are together immediately. Not like, let's snip this. And like, we actually have to cut it with our hands. Like, that's like the new change. So AI is going to be the same thing. It's just going to make videos way better. And if you know how to use the tools, you're going to be an amazing editor.
Do you tend to ask questions to AI to help making an edit better? Or is it more of like a sense of getting quick ideas and quick notes on your edits?
It could be both. So when I'm editing a video, I am either stuck on a script of what they're actually going to say as a voiceover, because some of the voiceovers in videos are actually me doing it first, and then I replace it with them saying my voiceover. So then when I create that, I'm like, how would this sound better as Luke Eich, right? And I'll say it the way that I was going to say it, but then I can use AI to be like, hey, can you put this in Luke Eich's like vibe, right? I literally just type it out like that. And it pops out with something similar of him saying, yeah, we just chillin' today. That word chillin' is like a common word he says in videos. So it's like this fit a lot easier with the video, and I wouldn't have gotten that if I didn't use AI. Again, I could have gotten it if I really, really analyze how he speaks and try to be the same exact way as him. But it's so much easier with AI to just do that. And then also too, AI tools in the editing software could be to fix the voice. AI is fixing that, right? Like if you wanted to auto fix that and change everything, it takes so long, right? But I use AI itself to fix it. and I can adjust the audio and be like, let's just do this because it's saving me time to do it. It's more the things to save time in between the small things that I need to do. There are things too with AI that you could do when it's like cut out the spaces between clips. That will eventually be so sweet because then I can skip the whole like cutting out between it and then watch it through once. It would be so much faster to watch that 10-hour video that already comes out as a 5-hour video. Then you don't need any raw cutters ever. And I know that that'll be like the next step. And yeah, so usually that's how I use it as a tool. It's not crazy super developed right now, but even images too. I use AI emojis to make it look like Apple emojis. And I put those into videos because like I can't find the right skateboard in like let's say in the Apple emojis. So I'm like, we need like an Apple emoji that's like something similar to what an Apple emoji skateboard would look like, and then it pops up with that. Like those are the things I've been using it for. Or the Photoshop to replace the background frame of it to make it so that we're going to add in this thing here and we're going to remove it from the screen or whatever. Like let's say a tripod and you want to make the thing look like it's floating. Then you use AI to auto remove that in the background. Saves so much time. Yeah.
So I got 2 follow-ups to ask you. The one is, do you believe that harnessing the power of AI is what will separate the truly amazing top-tier editors compared to the people that are kind of, afraid of it? Do you think that that's kind of the next step we're taking?
For sure. I think it's going to wash out so many because they're also going to be like, I don't know how to use this. And so it's going to wash out all of the shitty editors and it's going to put in so many good editors that are committed to working on the craft. And think if you're using something that allows you to get it done faster and you're putting more time into the videos as well, the video is going to come out way, way better and way higher quality just from using that tool and actually having more time to work on it. I'm on a time crunch, right? I'm editing a video. I have to get it out in a week, right? So if you had AI to save me 3 days of work, I can focus on, let's say, having the video done in a day faster, and also having like 3 days, or it could be like an extra day to fully polish it, add in different things and fix it up. So I think the fact that it makes it faster will allow me to work and let anyone that's editing work better and faster at the actual video. And then they have those times to add in extra things that AI allows you to do now. Like, let's say you want an animation for something and you want AI to do it simple and make it, you could just do it yourself and it's going to take you 3 days to make that one animation. Or you could get something very similar and very cool and fast that you could get from AI. Yeah. So I think that helps it out a lot.
Second off, I also did want to let you know there is a tool for AI to trim the silences and stuff. So I'll send that to you after this.
I've used it, but it doesn't do it as good though. It's good in like podcast form because it's like the cuts are so simple. But let's say Luke's skating through New York City and then somebody else talks in the background for a second and it cuts that part out with Luke talking. The thing that is nice in Premiere is I can search up words like Luke says, like and cut out all the ums. So that's really nice because I know that he's not going to use that word, right? So that's super easy to do. But it's not to the level of like it knows that this is useless. And I don't actually think it could because, right, it's like cut out all the parts where the skateboard is making a noise while Luke's talking and it doesn't cut out that part. Or it cuts out way too much. Like I've had that too. One time I did it on a video. I was like, I'll just get it. This is sick. I could just do this. And it cut out like majority of the important stuff because it cuts extra stuff. So it's like buggy a little bit. Yeah.
The first 30 seconds of a YouTube video are famously brutal. What's your system for constructing a hook? Are you looking for the funniest moment, the most dramatic, the most confusing? What is sort of your North Star that guides your choice for the opening?
Okay. So I think first off, and it's said all the time, the first 3 to 5 seconds is the most important. And it's just our TikTok brain making it so that we can't focus. We have goldfish brains, right? So you got to have those 3 to 5 seconds be something so important. So I think the hook itself right away can be a question. And also, you want to make it so once they get past that first 3 to 5 seconds, it leads into the 30-second mark of keeping them within that 30 seconds. And that's established as like the real full intro. I think that to get that hook, it's different for every video, because some might be literally just no talking cinematic clips that a lot of YouTubers some do. But the hook itself might be the first shot, let's say, is so beautiful and amazing for the first 3 to 5 seconds that of some simple vlogger would do or whatever, of like Mount Everest. And that's just like so breathtaking. So when somebody clicks on it, they stay within the 3 to 5 seconds. But for an actual hook that we do, I think it would be leading to a question that's making somebody interested right away, because they're now wondering, what is the answer to that question? And the first 30 seconds allows you to build up a reason why they should watch the video. And that's the biggest thing that we try to focus on, is like, well, why does that matter? Or why should I stay during this video? And leaving that why throughout most of the video and answered throughout the video in certain parts till the end, until it's fully answered. And I think why is so crucial to making the video itself engaging and gives a reason for somebody to watch it. So with Luke or Timmy or anybody, you could start off a video with being like, let's just say we're taking a stranger skydiving. I don't know, let's just say that's the video itself. Okay, so can we get a video, or can we get a stranger to go skydiving today? We're going to find out, right? Like that itself, a lot of times pulls somebody in. That's why Mr. Beast videos pop off right away, because he has something that is such a good question that allows it to be answered throughout the video. And you kind of set it up throughout the video too to have mini questions so they still get through it, right? Because that big question might not be enough for them to go in, but maybe they're like, oh, I really wanted to see Luke do this skateboard trick or something, and he does it in the first part of the video, but the question itself is something like, I'm just going to think of something. Oh, it could be like, for example, the Stranger series, going to see his girlfriend in where she lives far away. People are wanting to see him meet the girlfriend, right? So right off the bat, he is setting the tone that I'm going to go see my girlfriend and surprise her, and I haven't seen her in so long. It's a long distance relationship. So this is like a huge struggle for me, but we're going to make it work. And like that whole thing of the buildup of like, I haven't seen her so long, people are going to want to see that answered by the end of the video. So they're going to stick throughout that. But then he's also saying randomly like, but I'm also going to skateboard there. And it leaves it with like, oh shit, that's a really hard trail. It's going to be thousands of miles just to get to that point, right? How is he skateboarding there? So then that already sets a tone of like, okay, now there's something creative to lead through the video. And so that leaves two questions. One is he going to see his girlfriend? And I want to see that, the reuniting and stuff. But also, how is he going to get to like his girlfriend, right? Like, he's skateboarding. That doesn't make sense. So people are like, does he make it? That's another question. Another question after that is, when he's skateboarding, like, what is he going to see throughout all that? Because that's so far away. And you're just leaving a bunch of things, right? And a lot of times that one question actually leads into a lot of things. And you just kind of really try to compact all those things into the first 30 seconds. But the first main question is the most important. And let's say that for that video is Luke seeing Kyla. And so that's then when you can establish a hook really from that. It's just leaving those questions.
Got it. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a challenge here. So let's say you were an editor for us. How would you open up with those first 30 seconds?
I would start off by, as a podcast, putting in the clips of a question that's a hard question for me, or a question that's like either there's no way that I did this or that type of thing, to fit in the intro, so that right off the bat people are like, where's that question in the video? And then they're going to be like, oh, there's a lot of juicy kind of questions in this that are fitting with whatever it is. So since this is relating to editing, storytelling, whatever, you're kind of figuring out what was the craziest question asked and building it up with a suspenseful kind of tone of it, like having a riser or something leading into the podcast, right away going into like a question that's completely different. Or it could also be where you want to give them that reward right away. Since it's a podcast, people are in it for the long run. You could fulfill them with that question right away. But again, I think leaving it to like the middle of the video would make it so that it's a lot more engaging. So whatever, like maybe it's a deep question, like, I don't know, it could be something like this video, me saying something crazy out of pocket, you're leaving it in with a question that's not even actually related to what I actually said. So it could be like, has editing really impacted your life in a negative way? And then I say something like, yeah, I was at one point the loneliest I've ever been in my entire life. And I honestly wasn't sure if I seen the light at the end of the tunnel, right? Like, it was so difficult. And then taking this clip and putting it at the, right? So you match with a question that's something like that. And it's like, now that has a hook of somebody like, damn, this was really difficult.
Thank you for that clip. I appreciate it.
Clip. We appreciate it.
Every complex process has a bottleneck. In your world of managing multiple top-tier creators, what's the one part of your workflow that consistently creates the most friction? And what's your system for overcoming it?
I think the biggest part, it honestly comes down to time management. Like it's sometimes difficult. Like, real life kicks in. And also the fact that you're editing, you're remote. So I'm working from home. So if somebody comes over or somebody says, like, my girlfriend's like, do you want to go do this thing? Right? Like, you have to also be accountable for what you're doing, right? Like, I'm working. This is my time at work. But also it's, let's say, her day off. So I'm like, oh, yeah, let's go get food or let's do this. But then that's like, oh, that cut in time for the video. And I'm like, oh, now I have 5 hours less of whatever. Like, if I'm not being accountable for myself to do it, that's the biggest, I think, friction. But then again, another thing is the fact that I'm my own boss. You're living in your head, right? So when I'm done work, I'm my own boss. So I'm still saying it in my head, like, oh, you got to get this done. This is due, this, whatever. So that constant battle in my mind, I think, of like wanting to work creates burnout. And then the burnout leads to, now I can't edit because I'm trying to do this effect that would take me 5 minutes. It's taking me an hour, right? Like, you just lose the focus. So I think really trying to figure out the time management, which I've gotten a lot better at, creates a ton of friction during my workflow if I don't prioritize it. So if I don't keep on schedule with my morning routine and stuff, it's a bit, you fall off a little bit, and then it makes it so now it's a time crunch. Now the YouTuber is like, what's the update on this? And it's like, oh, this is only this far done, or like that type of thing. I'm like, you got to be on it. So sometimes it ends up making me stay up till like 4 a.m. trying to finish a video because I'm like, shoot, like this is like due soon, so I got to get this done. But now that screws up the next day because I stay up till 4 a.m. I got to wake up later. If I wake up early, I'm tired. Now, yeah, so it's like, that's the biggest thing, I feel like, for me at least. Yeah.
What's the biggest tip you would give to like editors in terms of managing their time? What other tips have you employed to make that process more enjoyable and efficient?
It comes down to discipline, right? Discipline is the core to, I think, success. And it's really the thing that allows you to grow, because once you stay on discipline, life is easy. The thing is so easy to get done, right? Because you have yourself in control. The issue with it is that you fall off and you might get used to the habits that you were doing, and you're like, you know what, this one thing, maybe today it's fine if I go do this. But it's like, no, it actually does sacrifice that time. I said I would work 5 days a week. I only worked 4. And so I'd say sticking to a routine of your morning starts with your habits, right? So the morning, I'd say, is the most important because it sets the whole tone for the day. Waking up early, don't be like, nah, I was editing late at night. Like, there's no reason for you to also edit late at night unless you're slacking.
I had to look at him first.
Yeah, I mean,
he's notorious for staying up late. Notorious. So,
Yeah, but
so
you
I
work
hope
at
you
a
heard that.
nightclub, so you gotta excuse.
yeah, you know what I mean? It's somewhat of an excuse, right? I'm like, you know what? If I'm up, I might as well be productive. One quick question I did want to ask you. What do you think is the biggest book, or I guess we can say resource, that has impacted you the most?
Bro, I swear, this is funny, but David Goggins, like, honestly, bro, have you read his books?
I have.
We build the boats.
Yeah, we build the boats.
Who's going to carry the boats?
Who's gonna? Oh wait, no.
Can't hurt me,
That
right?
sounded off. What? That's a dope book. And just the fact that he pushed through and did the cookie jar. I always think of that. When he was running, he pulls in these like really horrible memories of things that he's like, I conquered this and got through this. I can get through this. This is not that bad. And it's like the fact that he has so much discipline for himself really, really inspired me to do it. And the fact that he also had such a rough upbringing made it like, my life, there's no reason for me to complain about this. If it's 4 a.m., let's say I ended up doing it late, right? There's really no reason for me to complain about that because I'm not in a really bad position like somebody else could be in. I think it just made me realize that a lot of people have it worse, and it makes me feel very grateful to be in my opportunity where I get to do these things and have just the opportunity itself to edit a video, where somebody else might be worrying about something that's happening in their family, or like, you know, like there's so many things. And I think that if I get to be disciplined and keeping my mind in control, that's what the book itself taught me, and all the books and the things that I focus on. Like majority of the stuff that I get inspired by is discipline based. So it could be him, David Goggins, or originally what got me all into this thing was Gary Vee a long time ago. And it was just like the fact that he's like, you're like 20 years old. There's like no reason for you not to try, right? Like you should be going after things and should be taking advantage of any opportunity. And if you fail, you're 20, right? Like it doesn't matter. And that was like the biggest thing too. Resource itself, like you said, even just like when I'm working out or at the gym, listening to those motivational podcasts that people find cringe and stuff. But I find it so inspiring when I'm thinking, because it gives a mindset, and it's like cut up clips of best moments somebody said of things. And so then I get to kind of have a different insight on things. And it's kind of callous my mind, like David Goggins, to think that way, right? Like there's no excuse. If you could run a friggin' 250-mile race, bro, like how could I not finish that edit? Like, you know, it's just like, that's, again, a mental game. But bro, like, or I can't finish this 30 minutes of cardio. Like, really? Like, bro, this guy was running for 3 days. So
And that actually like reminds me of, I can't remember who said it. They were like, you never learn a lesson unless you feel pain. And I feel like that's kind of life's way of being like, that's how you learn, is through being uncomfortable.
yeah, you have to be. Oh, another is seek discomfort. Yes theory. That's like super, super motivating for me and inspiring. I don't know if you've ever watched Project Iceman. One, it's amazingly edited, and it's just like such a good story they told. But also the fact that he did that for like no reason, like there's actually no reason that he had to do that, to do a Ironman in Antarctica. It's crazy. Like, why would you do that? And it's like, the fact that nobody did it is why he wanted to do it, pushing himself out of his comfort zone and just like going after something so difficult. I think like that fact that was really seeking discomfort, like that fully aligned with them. So obviously that's why they probably matched with him so well and made a whole thing out of it. But yeah, that big thing was like, if it's uncomfortable, do it. But if it's uncomfortable and it continuously sucks and there's no reward out of it, then don't do it. That's the thing I've learned too. Like mine was serving at a restaurant before I was editing, and I was like, I hate this. And I was like, but it'll get better because it's uncomfortable. And it didn't, and it got worse, and my mental health got worse at the time. And I was like, well, I'm just a really shitty server. But you know what? That's okay, because I don't even want to be a server. And it's like that skill of me trying to be a waiter or server led me into like, I got to figure out something else. And then I picked up editing, and I was like, now I'm an editor and I love to do this. And when it's uncomfortable, it sucks, but it's so great at the end, and it's always great. Yeah. It's got to have some reward to it at least.
Your mindset is everything.
Yeah. I mean, did you felt some uncertainty when you were like quitting like that server job for like the first time, saying, okay, I got to find something new to do? Like what led you to like, what's said, this is what I want to do, you know, like I want to video edit?
How it started though was originally I did filmed and edited weddings. That was how it started originally, and this was before serving. I did it when I was like 17 or 16. I was pretty young, but I knew somebody in it and they were like, come join me. And so I liked doing it, but the weddings and stuff kind of felt a bit repetitive, and over time it just didn't work out. And so I was like, okay, I'm done with editing. It's not my thing. Tried it. But then when I went to serving and did all school and went for business, did a bunch of things, different jobs, it led to serving. I was like, all right, well, this really, really sucks, and I don't know a way out of this, and I don't see myself out of this. So I think what gained my passion of it was to start my own channel. And I was like, I'm just going to help inspire people who are in a bad position like I was. And so mentally, of course, not saying serving's a bad position. That's like really good if you're good at it. I'm just so bad with multitasking that way. But it made me get into editing a bit. And then I ended up finding a mentor who was already doing it. So I think the fact that I seen that editing was for YouTubers was a possibility of doing something like that, and editing for some people that I actually like to watch and it's like I'm a fan of, that's a thing. Like that's crazy. And so when I found that out, that's what really ended up pushing me into that whole different thing. But it was around that time where I was like, if I didn't have that serving to tell me, I would have probably not started the channel for self-improvement or whatever. That led me into meeting this guy, because he's like, oh, you're an editor. You want to come to like a pub somewhere and we'll just talk about it? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then I was like, yeah, we just talked about it. He told me what he does. And I was like, that is crazy. I didn't know that was a thing. I was like, I'm going to do that. And then it led into this whole thing. Yeah.
Going back to the storytelling and really meeting client demands, right? How do you guys tend to figure that out when you have brand integrations, right? So how do you weave that sponsorship into the narrative without losing the audience's trust or killing that audience retention?
Oh yeah, that's important. You always want to blend it, and it has to be blended, because some videos I watch and I'm like, whoa, that's just out of nowhere. It's like they're talking about motivational stuff, and then it's like those trimmers for your balls, and it's like, what?
Manscaped.
Like, how does that fit? Like, that just like made somebody click off. Like, I don't understand. So I think it comes down to the creator choosing originally if it aligns with what they're doing. And then some videos you base it off of actually that brand deal. So it could be something with like shaving your face, right? And let's say it's a Luke Eich day in the life, right? So he made the video sort of off of that, but not basing it off of that. But he's like, this is a sponsorship. Let's say they came in randomly when he was already doing the day in the life. Well, it's so easy to be like, all right, guys, waking up in the morning, and it'd be like, gotta get my IVL, and it'd be like, whoa. And then he looks in the mirror and he's like, that's crazy. But luckily I have this shaver that lets me do it in like 5 minutes, because I gotta get my IVL and get to a meeting right away. And then he shaves his face, and it's like, by the way, this is also Phillips. You should buy it. I have a discount too. And it's like already in the thing, and it could be like funny shots of him like, right, like doing funny things with while he's shaving his face. But then you're just allowing that kind of to flow with the video. Getting ready for the day is a part of the video. It's a day in the life. So it led to that, which led into the video itself. Or if it's about something with like BetterHelp, for example, if that was a brand deal in it, that's like a therapy, right? The video itself could be like, damn, like I'm falling off right now with like being disciplined, and my morning routine sucks, this sucks, and it's like my mental health is shot. But luckily I got to, and it like leads into him progressing and like getting better throughout the day. One of the things I honestly think I should do is therapy. And it's like that's going to lead into him then talking about the therapy and be like, luckily I got to do it. I don't want to go into a place in person because that's so uncomfortable. And it's like, I don't have to. I got BetterHelp. And then it leads into that type of thing. So you can kind of make it like, I found this really cool thing. And that's starting the brand deal, right?
Have you noticed whether or not that kills retention a little bit?
It does for most videos because they do it how they assign the YouTuber to say it and stuff, right? And that's like, if it's scripted off of like basically sounding like a commercial, then it's a different vibe, right? That's how, it's not how he talks or whatever. But that's why they never do those types of brand deals, because they're not really gonna want to change up their style for money. That's the biggest thing I noticed with the people at least I work with. They're genuine with it, and they want to keep it as close to the art, like the art they're creating, right? Otherwise it kind of screws it up a little bit. So in their videos, I think the biggest thing is to make it funny. Kelly does the thing where with Celsius at the time, where I'm not sure if you've seen, but he'd be like, I gotta get Celsius, and it would be this whole funny skit of like him sprinting away from somebody that's like really mad at him or something, and then he'll open a Celsius, chug it, and be like, I'm out of here. And it's like, it made him faster, or like, time to lift at the gym, luckily I got this, and then it's like, oh my god, I hit my PR. And it'd be like funny, and that part, adding the humor in, allows the brand deal to not affect it at all. I think, yeah, probably the humor.
Is that kind of difficult between the YouTuber and kind of the brand deal? Like, is there a lot of back and forth? I'm not sure if you know, but like where the YouTuber is like, I think this is a better way to approach this.
If it sucks and they didn't put effort into filming it and doing it, the brand deal is going to say, yo, this looks like garbage, but they want it to look like what they would do. The brand deal loves when it looks like their style and fits in so well that people are actually wanting to get the product because their favorite YouTuber uses it. And that's a big thing too. It's like, I trust this. Like, when I went away to the Philippines, I trusted, what is it called? I think it's like this, I was trying to get data. It was like it's Arlo. I was like, this one YouTuber I watched uses Arlo, so I'm going to use that. And I got a discount because I put in his code. Even better, but I trusted him. And if he trusts that, then I'm going to trust it. And then it makes it easier. But the brands itself, I feel like really do try to make it so that it fits with them. And so they're not too picky when there's the revisions. But some things they'll be like, yo, add a little thing at the bottom that says disclaimer, blah, 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 or whatever. Those things are just like their way of saying, like, you don't have to add in a whole nother segment of you saying something. We just put text at the bottom, and that's good.
What is one non-obvious metric or piece of audience feedback you look for that tells you a video didn't just get views, but it actually connected with the audience on a deeper level?
Are you saying the video itself or including like the thumbnail and title?
I'll let you pick.
All right, let's just go with the thumbnail and title. Right away, the thumbnail itself has to be vibrant and the title has to be really exciting for somebody to click on, right? And they have to align with each other, or else it's not gonna pair right with when somebody's scrolling through. They're not gonna care at all. Now that they have the YouTube testing thing with the thumbnails, you can do 3 thumbnails at once and test to see which one does the best. That helps a lot to just judge if it's gonna, which one's the best in general of people looking at and clicking on. So I think that with that already, if you're focusing, I think I'm just trying to think. Basically, it's like a hit or miss with the thumbnail and title because you don't know, but you have to have it fit into a pool of people or a demographic that's going to align with who you already are and what you're creating. So that's the tricky part. And using AI, we've tried to tested it. It doesn't work so great, but it sometimes does. But getting into like when we actually know a video is popping off, when you see the CTR, the click-through rate, being at a percentage past 5%, you know that it's okay, but it has to be like 10% where you're like, okay, this is fitting out to a bigger audience. And when we actually know that it's working as a video itself is I think it's like, just trying to think what it looks like, sort of. It's like it's kind of like a climb of views like right away from like, let's say you posted it in 4 hours and it's at like 30K. You know that it's going to start growing. But the thing is, the algorithm's so weird because it chooses you, right? So the first day you don't really know. The second day you're like starting to feel it out and sometimes it pops off. But it's like a hit or miss. But when we actually look at the videos and the retention graph, they're different for every single video. So like a vlog, it has to be like a consistent line down. And if there's spikes down, we know that you have to change that part of the video because it'll affect it, where that drop is people clicking off right away, or not even clicking off, but skipping the part. So you know that part just before was not interesting enough for them to enjoy it. Yeah. But again, it's like playing with the algorithm and satisfying it is like the part we really try to focus on. But the funniest thing is we're not super heavy on that. Timmy is a little bit more. He does more of that side of it, and that's with the other YouTubers and planning and what would this do with the retention and stuff. But Luke and Kelly, for the longest time, they didn't even look at the graphs or think anything of it. It was just like, how can we create the best story? It's going to make it so it's a good video. And then let's just make the thumbnail and title short and sweet, and that's how it's going to pop off. But honestly, they're not super heavy on that. And we're just kind of starting to get into that a little bit more just to have it help. But if you do it way too much and you get way too heavy focused on the analytics, it's going to make it so that it's not as fun. And that's their big thing, is it's enjoyable for them to do it. And yeah, I think it's going to really affect the story and make it end up becoming something that's very almost not genuine. The content will come off as not genuine. But yeah, I guess that's the thing. We don't go crazy into it. It's just more like, this video's kind of sucking. Let's change the thumbnail. Let's change the title. And then it's like, okay, that didn't work either. The video, what can we learn from this video? And then that's when then we adjust from there. We're not too crazy on it, or else you get burnt out from it too. Yeah.
For someone who's starting off on YouTube, how would you leverage editing to tell a story that's compelling for any kind of genre?
So I would start with shorts. Like, it's so easy to start with that and start doing it. And the thing that me and you talk about, Isaac, a lot is like the consistency and just like figuring out how to post and that type of thing. Posting is so hard to be, it's like so difficult to be consistent when you're posting. And I think that's just overthinking by doing the simple videos. Like, they're gonna suck at the start. Like, your videos are gonna be so bad at the beginning, but that's okay. As long as you post them and get into the habit of posting, every video you want to improve just a little bit. I think it's just like allowing yourself to not be a perfectionist on your videos and start posting. You already have the concept, the idea that you want to do. Start posting it. As you post, you'll start to gain more traction, and then people will start to click on it. People will be interesting. You start to build a little bit of community. They'll tell you what they don't like, what they do like, what videos they want. And then you already kind of have a funnel of like ideas and stuff. And I'd say that first off, when you establish who you are and what your style of content is, you're going to really want to create buckets. And that's what Timmy told me, is like having a bucket of ideas between different kind of, they're all aligned with your idea of what you want your channel to be about. Like, for example, let's say Mr. Beast, and we're going to go to him because he's just the biggest channel. He has like buckets of like $1 hotel versus $1 million hotel, or $1 yacht versus $1 million yacht. All those $1 versus that's its own bucket. And then there's like a whole different section of it, and it's like surviving in a bunker for this many days, surviving in this for this many days. That's another bucket. And there's all aligned with what his channel is trying to like promote, and that's overall in the entertainment, and that's what he's trying to do, what's engaging and entertaining for others, and he just fits it under that kind of category. Or it could be a self-improvement YouTuber where they're like, we're going to talk about, I guess self-improvement is a little bit trickier, but it could be more like, yeah, I guess self-improvement. It could be somebody saying something about anxiety, and let's say that's their one group of what they talk about. And then their next thing is like how to overcome habits that are bad, and that's its own series. You're just kind of like sectioning it so you always have ideas. And then eventually, once your channel grows enough, and you don't even have to do it eventually, you could start right away, put a lot of effort into like your long form videos and get it good and post them. And they could be at the beginning, like posted within like, let's say it takes you 2 months because it's going to take long for that video. Post them, like take 2 months to do it. You're learning how to do it. The first whole part of it is just learning. Get those shorts down. And once you get that out, then I think your channel's going to grow. You also don't need to post only on YouTube. Post on all the social medias. You have one chance on YouTube to get that video to go viral. But then you have another chance if you post on Instagram. You get another chance if you post on TikTok. But the biggest thing is staying consistent. Once you stop, everything else stops, right? And if you have an idea and you want to create it and it's not perfect, yeah, it's okay. You just got to go with it. And eventually you can go back to that topic again and do it better. But for right off the bat, I think you just got to like take a step back and realize that it's not, you're not making a movie. Like, this is not like something that's going to display in the theaters. Like, you know, you just got to let yourself be okay with posting it. And I think that's the hardest part. People are uncomfortable. Even myself, it's like uncomfortable with posting video because I'm like an editor. It should be the best at like whatever I'm doing. It should be the exact same style. But if I do it like that, there's no way that I could end up posting it.
From your perspective, what's the biggest business mistake you see other talented editors make that consistently hold back their careers or their ability to scale?
I think the first one that comes to mind is jumping from creators. So many people edit a video and then they're like, sweet, got that video done. And they're like not building a relationship with the YouTuber. So they never end up working with the YouTuber again. And it's like now they have to restart and find another thing. So sure, maybe they got like, I don't know, a good payout from that video. It's like now they got to restart and find another client and do that all over again. It's like it'd be so much easier if you just built a relationship with one YouTuber that you get to understand, you become friends with, and then you consistently get work every week versus like once a month. And like, I think a lot of creators that I met and a lot of editors do that. And they're like, oh, this is so difficult. I'm like, well, why are you working with like, they're like, I just want to have more also in my portfolio. So they get like, they're like, if I have like 7 or 8 YouTubers in the first like 8 months, and they're like, it's way better than just one. That's pretty much it. Like, people jump from people because they think it's improving their styles and stuff, but it's not. If you want to work with multiple creators, you can. I've done it, and that's what I do, right? Most people stick with also one, and I'm like, well, if you stick with one too, that's also a disadvantage because you're not learning another style. And so with my style of Timmy's, I've learned stuff and I've transferred it over to Luke's and fit it in his style. And so you have to just be able to just take it slower and just pick up what you actually can do. But if you are going to be working with other creators, yeah, don't just jump around. It's like such a waste of time. Yeah.
How do you bridge that gap between professionalism and being friends?
I think right when the call starts, kind of like how when we start off, you kind of can. The biggest thing I'd say, and a lot of people don't do it, is smile. I think that's such a easy power, right? Smiling is such a icebreaker to make somebody feel comfortable. If I came into this thing and I was like, "Yo, what's up, guys?" I was like, when's the thing starting? Oh, you have technical difficulties. Like, it's like awkward, and right away you guys would feel probably like, damn, this guy's like serious and like, shit, we gotta get our shit together, and it's like uncomfortable. It's the same with the YouTuber. If somebody comes up to them and says like, we're gonna get this video done, it'll be amazing, analytics are gonna be perfect, they're gonna look at it as just a business standpoint, and they're gonna see it as that. But right away when I, let's say, smile and I'm like, nice to meet you, yo, I actually watch your videos for so long, and I like, my favorite part is when you did this, and like, let's say I was a skateboarder or something, or just a hobby that I like, I'm like, I connect that with them immediately. If you're working with a creator, you should at least watch them for a bit too. Like, you should at least know who they are based on their videos to know what to relate to as well, because what they're posting on their videos is what they like. So you kind of get a free look into their life and can kind of adjust your personality towards what they already do and stuff. If I went into a call with Luke and I started talking about something like, or let's say Timmy, for example, and I just randomly started talking about, I don't know, something random as like makeup, he's not going to care at all, right? And it doesn't link with him. And I think it comes down to being a social skill, which some people just don't have, but there's ways to improve it. And that's just by meeting and talking to people. And I think if you're not good at that, that's the first step, figuring out how to be social with people. And then the second step is, smiling, showing that you're actually engaged with their conversation and care about what they have to say, and show off the passion that you also have with their passion, and like kind of align it. So with Luke, it's like, I'm so into like editing and I really want to improve this, and here's how I think I could change this. He's seeing right away that I'm so passionate about the same thing he's passionate about. We're already got that in common. That just sets off for like, oh bro, no way, you like sushi too? Like, it could be something random like that. Or wait, so like, do you play games or anything? And you go off a little bit when it's like a chill time, and it's like, yeah bro, I play Fortnite or something. Like, Luke would say something like that. I'm like, that's sick, what's like your kills? And then like on the thing, right? And that allowed us to just talk about something. And so some people just go straight into the work. Nice, thanks, nice to meet you, yeah, bye. And it's like, yeah, you could do that, there's no relationship built then. It's like so much easier to just like be a lot more laid back in that way. And some places you should be in that way, formal. You kind of, the thing I learned in the business world is mirroring people. You match what they're doing. So if they are more serious, you're not going to be like, what's up? Like, how you doing, bro? Like, what's up? Like, that thing would just be not something they are in line with. So if they're like, hey, nice to meet you, it's like, we're going to get right into the video. This is what we're talking about. And then I say like, yep, definitely, let's do this. And then I just get into talking about it. You match what they're kind of giving you. And if you don't match with them too, I don't think you should work with them, because that's going to hold you back as well. And that's going to make it way harder for you to work for them, because you're nothing like them as well. So Timmy, we have a lot in common. Kelly, we have a lot in common. Luke, we have a lot in common. Ari, we have a lot in common in the ways of just socializing. You can kind of see. But that's okay to also say no to them in those. Not right off the bat. I think you should always say yes, because you're a noob, right? You're trying to get into it. But yeah, later on, that's the most important thing.
You hold immense power. A few cuts can change the context of a moment and shape the perception of a real person to millions. Where do you draw the line between crafting a compelling story and manipulating reality?
Okay. I would say that when you want to create the story, you want it to stay within the lines of telling the truth. But even if you exaggerate it, overly exaggerate it, it's not lying. Because if you lie to the people, you lose their trust. And that's something that's so important to the audience. So that's why clickbait thumbnails and clickbait things really, really hurt the trust in people. And that's seen from a lot of YouTubers. And I don't want to call out anybody, but there's a lot of people that have done those types of things or said certain things they would do in a video and they don't deliver that. Or if they let's say said that, it's my responsibility now to also somehow provide that for the audience to see, so it isn't a lie. Like, if let's say Luke is hyping up to go jump off a ramp in a skate park and he actually doesn't do it and he instead chickens out, and like, that's so lame, right? That he just didn't do it, and that was the whole point of the video, and it didn't end up happening. Well, now it's my job to be like, okay, we need to make this exciting, and it's his job as well to make it so it's like, this is still showing it in a way like in a way that is acceptable for the viewer to find it, either like for the viewer to be okay with it. And so if that happened in a video, then what I would do is add humor, and that's the thing that allows it to be a lot easier, and that's the thing that softens everything usually in stressful situations or whatever. And somebody says something funny, it breaks it, right? So the same thing is in that video. It's gonna break that uncomfortable, oh, he didn't do it or whatever. It could be like, oh man, I'm so like, this sucks. Like, you could just like make it over exaggerated to that point. Or like, Luke, you gotta go out and do it and provide that, so we can manipulate it where some days it might not be the same day. He actually didn't do it that day, but we're saying he did do it in that day. And we just added a clip that he did 7 days later, and then you inserted it in, but we made it look like it. That's acceptable. He still delivered. He still did the ramp. Sure, he didn't do it that day. Is it like going too far from the truth? No. Like, it's still, that's the answer to the video. It doesn't really matter. But same with days in the life. Sometimes a day in the life, not for saying Luke, I'm just saying in general of most YouTubers, might not be exactly that same day, but it's still what a typical day in the life would be. You're still providing that answer, and you're not lying.
So there's a fine line between it kind of being entertaining, but also still delivering on the value and the premise of the video.
For sure, because you lose the trust. Like, if somebody, yeah, like for example, it was Ashton Hall, when it was like the time, and it's saying the time isn't there. Like, he's got so much hate because people don't believe in his morning routine. And sure, to me, honestly, when I first seen it, I was like, this is so motivating. But then you got that part of it was like, he didn't hide it enough, or didn't edit it enough to make it so it was that, or he made it too extreme, like that actually wouldn't happen in a day in the life. And it's like less of the, he didn't add enough, I think, humor into it to make it so it's okay to do that. Like, he's like, yeah, it's totally 6 o'clock in the morning right now, and it's like the clock's behind him showing like, and then it like that would make it so that people are like, this guy's funny. And it's like, I think that would soften it and make it easier for people to not hate on him. But I think he's also using that to his advantage.
I completely agree. Like, I think that's kind of like, he did it on purpose because it's rage bait, right? That gets more eyes.
Yeah.
So let me ask you one more thing. When it comes down to people who maybe want to present themselves as more professional, right? Is it still okay to add a bit of humor, even if it's against, we can say, their brand?
A brand?
Yeah. Like, let's say, even though it may be against our brand voice, like typically a brand voice is like, okay, we're professional. You know, we present ourselves in a certain way. And a lot of times that reflects onto the content as well. So do you think humor is still applicable in those situations? Even if, like, let's say for us, we want to present ourselves as professional, right? Is humor still an okay and acceptable way to go about that?
For sure. I think humor is the most genuine type of feeling that anyone kind of has, right? Though, like, if you're gonna go fully professional on things, even the most professional people say a out of pocket joke or something in a meeting, at an actual business meeting, and it's like, oh, that was really funny, you said that type of thing. Maybe it just softened the mood for people. Like, the projector's not working when you're in an office, and it's like they say something that's like a funny remark about the projector, and that's kind of a bit unprofessional, but it broke the silence of everyone waiting uncomfortably. And maybe they're talking, now people open up and start talking about something else randomly. Because I guess being professional was a thing that was always looked at before as something so important, but it's not as relatable to everyone, because everyone has humor and everyone finds different things funny, as long as you don't go too far off of what you're talking about. Like, if you say something very inappropriate on this and it's very far off of the vibe and the whole concept that you're going off of, then it doesn't fit into what you're doing. People are going to judge you on that. If you say some remark that's just a bit insulting about somebody, that doesn't fit. And that's not funny in that way. But you can still add humor, I think, into anything, as long as it doesn't cross the line. Like, for example, me saying in this thing, and I said it specifically, I actually said it just because I was like, this kind of fits, to break it a little bit, to make it like a bit funny, is I literally said that one part. If it was that commercial and they had the ball trimmers that it posts online, right? That itself is not too inappropriate for the situation, because that's an actual thing that is posted online. Like, it's promoted. It's an actual company that promotes that in their commercials. But if I went too far with that type of thing, then it's no longer funny and it's insulting to someone else. But who is that really going to insult? And so me saying something like that maybe breaks it a little bit, so we're okay to say something funny, I guess. Yeah. So they do that with videos as well. And anyone doing that, good example is Gary Vee. He swears so much in his videos, and that breaks the silence of, like, he's like, I don't effing care if this effing person says this effing thing. He's like, and somebody tells me not to swear, F you. Like, he's still professional extremely with what he does, but that's another just thing that people like about him. Yeah, and you're going to have haters, of course. Everyone's going to have haters. That's just a part of life. But I don't think you have to take it that serious to be like, oh, that's too far. Like, everyone's got humor, and some people are going to get offended by the most stupid thing. And somebody might get offended by that little comment I said, but it's like, how did that offend you? Oh, I'm sorry. I should have said I don't know. You know what I mean?
Totally. As we were talking about throughout the whole podcast, we've talked a lot about the creative and business partnership throughout the whole creative process. Describe the nature of a creative and business relationship. How is the trust built, and how is it maintained when creative visions and business pressures diverge?
This is a tricky question. Because, like, I don't think it diverges too much, honestly. Like, the creative process originally starts out with what we have as an idea. And are you saying, like, as in business? I'm trying to figure out, like, I know the creative process is throughout the entire thing, but the business, what's the business portion? Like, what would you consider the business portion?
More like the vanity metrics.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think once we post something and it doesn't do well, we're like, okay, this might have been a hit or miss. Even though the video is exactly how we want it creatively, there's something still wrong with this. First off, it might be the packaging, and that's the thumbnail and title. So we assume that, and we change that, and it doesn't work. Okay, that didn't work. Maybe it's a hit or miss with the video itself. So then we go back into it and make a similar type of video, and we post it, and it doesn't do well at all. Okay, well, now we know it's this concept, this idea of the video is not going to work. No matter how creative we do, it doesn't align with the viewer's interest in my channel. So with Luke, it could be something about, sorry, I think my camera just like shook. So with Luke in a video, let's just say the one is actually with Ashton Hall. It's like living like doing morning routines of like influencers. That was the one video that he did. and we tested it, and it was like, okay, this just doesn't align with people's interests in what you do, because people like his vlog type content and showing his life, doing crazy travel adventures and stuff. So it's like, this doesn't fit with your demographic. So no matter what, if we try to get into the self-improvement stuff, we can only go so far as to do day in the life and just showing snippets of his self-improvement things. So the concept we know is like, this doesn't work, let's change it and just stick with what does work, and then test it. So sometimes it's like, this is totally out of your style. Like Timmy's, that one video, the recent one, that's out of his style. Like, to do something that's a full vlog and telling his story, he's a Rubik's cuber, he solves cubes, he goes to competitions. This is a serious video that he made, where his demographic is younger people watching him. But we took the risk and we made it as good as possible, and then we posted it and it worked. And so that did align with him. So now we know that does align with what he does. And so we can try it again, and maybe it fails, but maybe it doesn't. And then once we know, then that establishes its own new kind of content bucket of other things that you can do with it. But you have to test it. And that's the thing we like to do a lot, is testing and trying out different styles, because almost every single video we do is also a different style. Now we keep things similar, and we established to do a similar video from the one previous, but we add different things. So then when we get into the creative process of it, then it's like, okay, this is what worked, this is what didn't. That's when then in post we are like, let's cut this thing because it doesn't work, and we learn from that, and we just pursue that on every single video until we make a banger.
Hell yeah. So you would say
Mic
it's
drop.
definitely like a process of trial and error, definitely
For
throughout
sure.
the whole process.
Let's talk about the central tension for any modern storyteller: the algorithm versus the art. The algorithm often rewards specific formulas for growth.
Yeah.
The art often demands you break them. How do you manage that conflict? And have you ever had to kill a creative idea you love because you knew the algorithm would punish it?
That's really good. I think the full decision doesn't come down to me. It comes down to the creator and what they are doing to make that actual decision of like, we have to just cut this out, or we have to just not do this at all because it just does not work. And that could be Luke's video. One of them is really passionate about. Which one is it? I'm just going to pull it up really quick. It's a video I did, and it was a video where it's like, I hate fish, so I ate it for 7 days to make myself like it. And so that was the whole video, where it was like, he ate fish for 7 days. We thought this would do really well based on like other people doing that type of thing. And at first it didn't do very well. And it also, now it's not like super great, which is like, when we started it, it only got like 40K views, and now it's at like 80K. So it's not like great, but we put so much effort into this and so much time into making it a good video that we thought this would just be a banger. It's like really funny. It fits with his whole vibe, but it's like, then it comes down to, this wasn't a video that actually made people interested in the concept of doing something so uncomfortable for him, eating fish. It was what we originally thought would just be like, that's really funny, doing something you hate, and like maybe making this a whole different series, and we could like brainstorm, this could be a ton of different videos and like all this other stuff. And the fact that it just didn't perform at all, and people weren't super vibing with it, and we put so much energy, so much creative power, some of my favorite like edits in that, and it just it just dropped, like nothing happened. So now that's the creative decision and the whole decision of not using that type of video again. Now we could try it again, but it's like, we see it didn't work, and it's like, even though we spent so much time doing it, it didn't work. So that's the sucky part about it. It's like, well, that just cut off a whole series that we thought would have became something. But then again, looking back at it, I know that he's not upset about it because he doesn't have to do something for 7 days he hates. So I think that was probably like one of the bigger things, and that's sometimes happens throughout with any creator. And it could just be a whole thing that drops off, and it sucks because it's like so many ideas are in that now, and they all just have to be gone.
Do you believe that it was maybe something down the execution? Like, did you guys go back to that video and try to figure out, like, okay, maybe, like, why did this not land? Was it, do you think it was the storytelling? Like, if you were to take, like, an objective perspective on it.
So the storytelling, I think, is fine because we made the days very, like, quick. I guess, let's see how long it is. It's 21 minutes, so we could have shortened it, and that might have been the thing. But it's hard to tell, really, because it's something that we both had a perception of it being so good. And it's like we would have to have other points of views to really know other, like, kind of ideas and what they thought. But I think it's the idea itself. So he tried different thumbnails, we tried different titles, it just didn't work. So you have to you have to kind of like think of what is it in general, which kind of destroys the whole video. And it might be that idea. And that's where we thought, damn, it's the idea that kind of just takes away from the entire edit. That means the whole thing essentially sucks because it's like that idea wasn't good. And it's like, okay, really, if I was scrolling through, does it provide any value to watch somebody eat fish for 7 days? And then you come down to that question, and it's like, no, but we thought it was a funny concept that somebody might watch while they're like doing something. Another thing is people want to watch something for, let's say, lunch. But when they click on, they're not going to click on a video like that. For example, maybe he's throwing up, or the first clip is he's throwing up. Maybe we shouldn't have had him throwing up. There's a lot of questions you can ask about it, but I think it comes down to that idea is where we think maybe that's not good. So that's okay. Brush it off and restart.
I can tell you from at least my perspective, actually, that's one of the videos I most recognize from Luke. Funny enough, like I watch his Stranger series, but that's not kind of what pulled me in as like a serious viewer. I can tell you like from personal experience, I was watching Kelly and I got exposed to Luke through the vlogs. And I think that was one of like the videos that like when you said it, it stuck out to me because I was like, oh, that was a really good video. Right.
Okay.
So I think the one thing like me and Danny were talking about as well, when it comes to the execution of a video, it's people tend to have like kind of what we were saying, routines around when they watch videos. And I think maybe trying to figure out kind of what you said, maybe that's your ideal viewer. Maybe they watch Luke when they're at lunch. So maybe it wasn't the idea. Maybe it was just kind of the way specific. It was just fish. Like, oh, I don't want to see someone throwing up.
Yeah. That's true. I didn't even think of that. It's funny I even said it like that, but I didn't think of it like that. That's true. That's actually a good thing I'm going to take from this too. The timing of videos. When do people watch it throughout their day? So don't make it gross or whatever. Even if it's not, they might think it's gross from the title. Especially
the environment like affects everything, I would say.
Like for example, like the audience between what this podcast would be and obviously an entertainment channel is different. Most people, they're going to be listening to this when they're driving on their way to work or from work. Yeah. So kind of trying to like put yourself in their perspective. Like we spoke about thinking backwards.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Trying to think, okay, let's see. Ideally, our ideal client or our ideal viewer is listening to us when we're at work. So maybe let's not go into anything that requires a ton of attention.
Yeah.
But still easy to pick up and take tidbits from.
So our final question, if you had to teach a young editor one principle that was more about character than anything about skill, what would you teach?
Damn. That's a hard one to choose. That's a deep question. Let's see. What I change about
that's
their
gonna
character.
be clipped, by the way.
Oh. Okay, I got it. I think this is the most powerful. Ambitious. Yeah, you would have to for sure be ambitious, and that's the number one thing because it's so tedious. Anyone who edits knows how annoying it is for your computer to crash, for it to just be not working the way you want. you spend so long on an effect and it sucks, right? What's going to pull you through that? Sure, motivation, it's temporary, right? Drive to go after it. Of course, that's what's going to lead you there. But how are you going to have drive to actually go after doing something like this? And it comes down to your ambition to be an editor. I think that's the biggest thing. If you're not ambitious to be an editor, then you're not going to be an editor. Like, it's the same thing that goes back to me when I was a server. I was not ambitious to be a server. So there's no reason for me to actually do good at it because I didn't want to, right? Like, so if you're trying to become an editor and you want to be an editor, you have to be ambitious about it. There has to be some reason, some vision of you becoming some sort of type of editor or doing something to actually go after that. And I think that kind of should lead into everything you're doing in life. Being an ambitious person is so important. And there's a lot of things that you can do to make yourself no longer ambitious. And that's by, let's say, partying too much. You're going to lose ambition from doing that. Now you create a habit where you became comfortable, or you do something and you're now comfortable in life. That's going to make you no longer ambitious. There's so many people that have no ambition and they do nothing. And I don't think there's anyone that's like successful unless they inherited it by family or something, right? They all have ambition in general because they want to become something or do something. That's where it leads you to everywhere. And for editing, that's a big thing you need because it's a stressful job and it's going to suck at so many times. You're going to be pulling all-nighters. You're going to have clients. I've had other clients that I've worked with. They're just so bad. Like, they just did not deliver. They didn't pay me right. They didn't do these things. And none of the guys, just clarifying, I work with now have done that. They're all amazing. But the people that I started to try to edit for originally, before Luke and before all these guys, some of them just like didn't see me as somebody that they should value. And so you don't get yourself taken advantage of. But make sure that you have ambition to still go after it and get back up when you do fall down from those situations, because they're going to happen. And know that no matter what, you're going to make it out of it and you're going to become good at it. But that's what you have to have, because there's other people I've worked with and I've had people edit for me and stuff at different times. And some of them were super ambitious and some of them weren't. And you could tell the ones that did really well at the work were the ones that were ambitious. And you could tell the people that were more driven for the money didn't do as well. And so, yeah, it definitely comes down to, I think, ambition.
I can definitely like relate to that as well. Just ambition in itself, I think, takes a degree of failure. How I see it, there's not a lot of ambitious people, especially when they're learning a new skill. They think that it's almost easy, that they're getting this get quick rich scheme. You have to experience failure and you have to be comfortable experiencing failure, because if you can't fail, you're never going to get to the skill or talent that you want to get to.
Definitely. 100%. Yeah, there's ways to become ambitious too. And that's where I think you have to set out and manifest some sort of vision for yourself in order to go to that position. Because if you don't have anything set in your mind, there's no target. You always have to have that goal. But some people just don't set the goals and they're content with not doing that, which is totally cool too. Like, I see some people and I'm like, damn, that must be really, really chill. But my brain is wired different, right? But I think that if anyone is like watching this and they're aspiring to be an editor and they want to do it and they love the creative process, then go after it. And if you don't like the creative process and hate it, then don't be an editor. Like, it's not that bad, but find something else creative that you should do. And I think everyone should do something creative, because that's what allows you to grow your ambition.
No, thank you so much for all that insight. It was wonderful.